Okay, so here we are on day two. On the recap video, um, I had shown that we had made the $3,000 profit target designated by Topstep, and the subsequent days are going to be a matter of demonstrating consistency. So the aim here is to try to make $300 to $500 a day on the trading, and by doing that, it will offset the imbalance that this rule demands. Your best day can't be larger than 50% of the profits. So if I do 500 a day for 6 days, I think, then it will balance against my very first day, making that profit target. You can see the market has been pretty much stable. There's not been an awful lot of up and down. And we're looking at this at about what time I got 6 in the morning. Um, at 8, we can expect the market to get rattled a bit. So we're not going to be in there making trades at that time. Um, so given that the high and low so far is in this range, we'll try to start working within that range. We're not going to do anything crazy for any of the trades. And again, the aim is to move the balance from 53,165 to 53,665. Um, if it looks like I can do that because the market is stable enough, that'd be great. If it turns out that um, I'm absorbing losses, then I might just aim for 3. So let's take a look here. I'm going to get myself set up, give myself a 4-point separation on here, give myself about 1 minute or so here. So we can see that it's trending down. We'll go ahead and we'll do a sell. Again, just one contract, nothing crazy. I just came online, so I just want to test the water a little bit. Now looking at what's gone before, you can see the stair-stepping effect. You I might consider that it went up, it went down a little, and then it'll go up again. Um, but it didn't go up enough to say that it's, stair-stepping itself. There's an excellent channel called Iman Trading that covers various different observations that he's made, and I highly recommend you take a look at his channel. He's not a trading guru type. He just does his observations. He's documenting his own trading experiences. And where might that next trade go? Well, after a peak, we typically get a slow decline. We're getting another peak here. I would say there might be a pullback on that one. Again, one contract. We're not trying to get rich quick here. We're just trying to warm up a little bit. When I see big jumps like that, I try not to lose my composure. I'll go back and see what have been some of the movements just prior to that day. We can see a very high peak here that didn't quite make it. So a much higher peak earlier in the day. It might go down, but I'm going to bring it a little bit closer just because I want to close out the trade. Now, I do have a certain amount of personal attachment to the win rate. Probably not healthy. Win rate doesn't really mean much. Um, I like having a high win rate, but if you try to make sure that every trade is a winning trade, then that's not good either. What matters is that you calculate correctly and you execute. So where might this go next? Now, you don't need to necessarily know direction. If you zoom in and I go down to 2, sometimes what I'll do is I'll take a look at what is the candle itself doing. Is there enough price action in the candle to be able to say, okay, I'll buy at the bottom and it'll sell at the top. Um, let's say this guy wants to sell 1 and possibly come down to here. Okay. Now I'm doing single contracts simply because this is still not a particularly, this is a very hard graph to read. Like for me, this isn't definitely trending up or trending down. If you look at the 8th and the 9th, so between the 8th and the 9th, this is very easy to read. You can see that this was trending upwards all morning, and so making trades on this could give you a feeling that okay, you're making the right calls. But today it went down a little bit. It's changed its mind. It went up a little bit. It cratered a little bit. It went up a little bit. Is it possible it'll change its mind here and go down a little bit? Can't really say. So I'm going to be trading a bit conservatively. So let's zoom in a bit. Okay. So we've gotten couple of peaks and valleys. We're seeing some price action that wants to go down a bit, and I'm going to say that it is going to sell more. I'm going to wait maybe for this candle to kind of backtrack a bit. Yep. Then bring this down a little bit. Now if it comes down into this area again, I might get a little, did it before me. Okay, so what I might try to do is do a sell of 5 this time. Now this might be tricky because, we're only 13 into the realized profit. We'd be digging into some of our cushion. Okay, I got some of that. So at about the 12-minute mark, I had muted and didn't realize I had muted until about the 20-minute mark. So things get very quiet, but you can see that I'm just trying to evaluate the trend and the new direction of the trend. Feel free to skip forward to minute 15 or so. That's where I take a look at the section for performance to see how my trade information is going, how long I'm keeping win rates, and so on. And if you need to, you can just skip forward to the 20-minute mark, and audio comes back, and you'll start hearing descriptions of what my thought process is and why I'm making the trades that I'm making. So if we're looking here, it's trended down. Is it now going to trend up? Well, let's take a look. Because it's trended up before, it's made its way up, and it could be that we're seeing this bounce. We're seeing this bounce a little bit higher, and it's on its way up to make possibly another bounce. So I am going to zoom in a bit, and we're going to try doing a buy, and we're going to buy right here. We're going to say he's going to come up to here. And it's always painful when that happens, when the wick just is within reach. Okay, so he's making his way up. Now, will he continue to create a wall, or will he backtrack a bit? Well, let's do a buy 10. And this is where we're getting into risky territory. You see that I do have a stop loss of 500 set immediately. There's a setting in here for risk. And 500 is a pretty big risk when you're dealing with contract numbers like this. That right there, that's terrifying. Taking that risk that it was going to work its way up. It's possible. Now in the back of my mind, I'm trying to decide, should I cut my losses here? I'd lose, a chunk of what I've accumulated, but at least I wouldn't go zero or negative. Or do I let it try to come all the way through? And if it does go all the way through, should I try to take what I can get? Or let it try to develop all the way up to where I set it? You can kind of see where the anxiety comes from when you're trading. Should I? All right. We have made 125. Let's see where we can go. Now, still early on in the day, 7:26. So I'm going to buy, but I'm going to buy 5. And I'm going to buy it, and that was nice. That was nicely timed. That was totally by accident, though. I'm going to say it's going to come up, but I'm going to buy 5 because I don't want to trigger a massive drop in what I've accumulated. So we're going to come up here. And that's going to come up to the last peak. All right. So he's coming down again. We are going to try another buy. Again with 5. And one of the things that I have done from time to time is set the target, and if there's strong interest coming up, get ready to maybe buy another 5, buy another 10. Or possibly just put it up a little bit more. Let's pull that in. So the last peak was there. We could maybe reasonably put it there. And as a new trader, you might have noticed that I'm not talking about specific concepts in finance or trading. I kind of understand what a liquidity pool is. I kind of understand the concepts of supply and demand, but what I'm looking at mostly is just the patterns that I see and the strength of the patterns that I see. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be split on whether that's a good way to trade. So should I buy more? Let's do 15. So at 15, we're up to 186. And let's buy 10 at this level. Because we are making a bit of a climb. Now, that right there, I'm not going to freak out too much because again, there's been drops like that all morning. Of course, that could be the beginning of a drop that says, it looks like this. It could be this right here. Just waiting on whether it's able to make the climb out of there and reach another peak. It's entirely possible that it's on the downslope now, so let's take a look. The last time that happened, some of these downslopes are pretty severe. So we're about 30 minutes away from some news breaking, and past experience says that the market will freak out for a minute or two. Hopefully this trade will be resolved by then. So this can be worrying. We can see that we did have a peak, we dropped, and now we have a step, step, valley. It could be a step here. So what do I do in a situation like this? We can see that it is dipping down pretty badly. We've now lost anything that we made. If it manages to come back up, that's hopeful, and that's not a thing that you want to do as a trader. You don't want to be trading on hope. You need to be trading on an analysis of the situation. And what I've done sometimes in situations like this where it seems like it's just not coming back is I would sell off, one or two of the contracts to try and minimize. So if they start to come back up a little bit, then sell off a little bit. If it just seems like they're trending below where they'll ever come back. So I'm going to drag this down. Or I could go full metal jacket and drag it all the way up. At the moment, it's not going to make a difference because it hasn't peaked up here. But on my profit target run, my logic was, well, if I suffered long enough while it was down here, I'm going to make sure that I make as much as I can if it happens to recover. So yeah, there was slowing of the price action right there. You could see it. People might be getting a little trepidatious. And it might be time to close this out if we can get it. Close that out. There's no point in trying to wish it any further up. Now I might go ahead and see if we can get something on the way down. took a nonsensical 15. Sure people are screaming at the monitor right now. If there's anybody watching the video. Okay. So now where do we, let's see. Now we're going to do inside of the candle itself. And we're looking at 30, so we're up to 217. We're still at 2. I'm going to separate this a little bit so we got a bit more. Okay, so we got a little bit of a climb here. Is he going to break that ceiling? Is it finally going to do what I hoped it would do earlier? And again, that operative word, hope. You shouldn't be trading on hope. When you see things like this, there's a good chance it'll slide down the other side. Again. Let's do a buy of 1. Maybe it'll go up. All right. Well, you're at 220. Now, honestly, this has been somewhat choppy this morning. I've had some trades that I feel like were good to make, and some trades which were absolutely atrocious. Um, so I'm going to try a sell of 5 within the candle here. Okay, looking at here. I'm thinking of doing a sell, but I want to wait until we have something green. Okay, so that's a good size candle. We're going to come down to here. And closer did at 8 o'clock. What I have found to be interesting about events like this is that they seem to stabilize further action for the next few hours. I've had good trading days in between 11 and 12 where the price action seems to be pretty stable. That's crazy. And you can see where the idea that leaving the trade go for too long outside of a certain point, if I had a rule and I stuck to the rule, there's a good chance I would have been able to capitalize off this type of movement, or at least minimize any losses. Looking at this, there's a very good chance that this is just going to take us up into a new area of price and it's not going to come back down. So I'm probably going to cut my losses on this one, such as they are. If it comes down, if it comes down to, I'll take a hit if it comes down to 117, but you know, that's the way it goes. Because now that we're working up here, there's no point trying to work down here. Okay, so let's do a buy of 5. Okay. Now, as it goes down like that, let's try to do another buy of 5. We got that guy. All right, let's do a buy of 15 on that guy. Right, a second, and let's see what it's trying to do. So we do have an upward trend. I guess everybody's trying to get their stuff done before the 8 o'clock. So I'm going to buy 15 at the red. Back up there. Again, let's buy 15 there. And you can see I'm thinking I might buy another 15 to try and get a big payday on this, but let's see what happens. Come on now. Let's see. Looks like something froze maybe. Yeah, we're reconnecting. And it looks like our trade went through, so let's see. We are at 757. I'm going to leave this alone, and we're going to see what happens at 8 o'clock. So you can see I was able to make up what was lost when I had to bail on that last one. It's going to happen. In trading, pain is part of the game. I highly recommend reading Best Loser Wins by Tom Hogard. It's more of a mindset psychology type of approach. He's not offering like technical advice on trading. Being able to absorb and learn from your losses is important. So we're about an hour into trading. We've got about almost half of what we need. Once 8 o'clock rolls through, we'll see a bit more volatility, I think. So 8 o'clock rolls in, we can start to see that the candles are getting a little bit more interesting. Volatility is there. And the candle movements are much bigger. In these situations, I do actually like these a bit more. It lets you play around inside the price action, inside the candle. So we've got 2 between each one. Let's stretch this out so that we can get a bigger picture. So after maybe three to 5 minutes, we might get an idea of where the market thinks it's going to go. Looks like everyone was yay, and then boo, and then maybe yay. Starting to come down. So you can see the volatility is starting to come down. Things are starting to calm down. And we'll see if this peak actually affects what was an upward trend in the chart. If things just carry on as normal, then this will eventually get back to where it was and just continue. So is it going to poke through? Let's take a look. Keep in mind, yesterday, some of the averages were like 1880, 1890 something. So the market has come down. Um, Always room to go up, and there's a lot of room to go down. So, well, now I have no idea. There doesn't appear to be a great amount of information in what's happening with these candles. Like, this is just all over the place. So with these, if I was thinking that this was starting to trend down, I would say, okay, give me a green candle, I'll sell, and I would sell about here. And I would have done it back around here. But you can see that that would have been not the most immediately best call. If we're looking locally at the trend, just at this one trend line, you can see the trend is going upwards. It's trying to spike through what the most recent high was. And hey, look, if I had done this, and it would have broken through. Again, this is all hindsight. Just gonna try this out. Okay. Sell 5 here. So it is trending upwards. Again, I can do a maximum of 45, I believe. A spike like that is kind of scary because the temptation is to want to do something with it. I'm gonna wait for it to come down, and then we'll do something with that. Still a bit too much. So let's do a buy and a buy and a buy. So we're at 45. can see it seems to be running fairly stable. Do a buy and a buy. We're at 45. We're gonna go up a little bit. We're at 402. So after that, we're gonna get some pullback. So now we're gonna need to see how much pullback. All right. So we made the target for today, which is we were looking for 500. We got to 525. Definitely some reckless orders on my part. I was following the trend at the end, putting in a lot of contracts. Um, Feel free to lambast me in the comments, and I appreciate you guys spending the time to see what we could do today. See you on the next one.